Welcome, everybody. I am Nimble with Numbers. Scott Simpson here. It is a Saturday night, and that means it is time for the DFS Money Shot live stream podcast. This is where I go head-to-head with folks from the fantasy and the DFS world. Tonight, I am honored to have the man, the legend behind Statement Games, Mr. Marc. Celia, how are you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me. Excited for this show here. I know it's been a long week, as we were talking about offline for both of us. Looking forward to kind of like, just chilling out, watching a full slate of games tomorrow. So I'm excited. Appreciate the opportunity. Great being here.
Oh, no, this is excellent. So people know about me. My deal is I love DFS, and I'm all things DFS. I do a little bit of fantasy. I'm trying to do a little bit of gambling. I love all type of sport-related football, money-type activities. Let's talk a little bit about Statement Games real quick. Talk about what you guys do over there and how we also, the people, can get involved with you guys.
Yeah, sure. So again, appreciate the opportunity to tell my story a little bit here. So you had mentioned that you're into DFS here. Well, at Statement Games here, we've kind of like invented a little bit of a different form of DFS. Actually, as it turns out, I was actually awarded a patent for the system and the process that we've created for our new DFS game this past kind of like August by the United States Patent Office and Trademark Office. So kind of like what we do, you can access what we do at www.statementgames.com. You can also find this in the major app stores by searching on Statement Games Fantasy Sports. We are a gaming platform. And what we do is we create games around individual sporting events for the most part. There's some little like nuances and things like that we'll do from a NFL pick'em or a college pick'em kind of like perspective, or we'll get into like golf tournaments as well. But for the most part, we create tournaments around individual sporting events. So, for example, what would you pull up here? I think you got the Seahawks and Rams game up here that we're kind of playing in.
Yeah, sure.
We've created a game kind of around that specific sporting event. So if you want to play the game here, we're going to present you with a list of anywhere between 50 to 60 props, or hence the company name, statements that are specific to that game here. Rams defense over under 2.5 sacks. Russell Wilson over under 315 yards passing. There's a variety of different picks that you can actually choose from. It's your job to go through the list and actually pick 10 of them. And as you make your 10 picks, you want to rank them in order of confidence from 10 through 1. So as the game plays out, if your number 10 pick becomes correct, you're going to get 10 points. If 9 through 1 are incorrect, well, now you just have a total of 10 points. You're going to play in a league of anywhere between 8 to 12 people, and the person with the most points from correct picks at the end of that specific game wins. This is a free-to-play game. I'll kind of like get into with you a little bit on different ways and how the community is kind of like playing for money, but for the most part, this is a free-to-play game. We don't actually ask for the funding of an account, your social security number, your firstborn child, just to kind of like get into the Statement Games kind of like lobby. You're playing for what we call Statement Games coins. You'll get coins by finishing the first, second, or third in any tournament that you actually go ahead and play in. It's your job to compete in various different kind of tournaments, accumulate a bank account of as many coins as you possibly can, and when you're ready, we have a whole reward system. You want to exchange your coins for a cash gift card of your choice. So the Statement Games rewards platform is powered by about 80 to 85 different merchants. Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, NFL Shop, Under Armour, Nike, Macy's, Target. You simply exchange your coins for a cash gift card of your choice. You can actually see that there are other free little ways in which you can kind of continue to top up your account with some free coins here. Spinning the wheel is just one kind of example. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a better understanding of who we are, how we're positioned, and what our new form of DFS is all about.
Now, I love this. And when we talked on the phone a couple weeks ago, the thing I liked about it, this is your dad really behind the scenes creating a game for your family to really draw you guys into the beautiful game of football when you're kids. And, what dad hasn't sat in front of the TV, wanting to relax, enjoy the game with a beer, whatever, and the kids are just not cooperating. And you're like, listen, let's tuck in. This is art right here. And I love the story. It's great. Good dad you have, by the way. God bless him. And
you want me to tell the story real quick?
yeah, I mean, I love it. Go for it, man. Explain it a little bit because to me it touched.
Cool.
I loved it.
No, I just the point that I'm making kind of here behind that story is that this concept of this game has been played within the Salino family household for probably about 25 years. Full disclosure, as you can tell, I'm a Yankee, Giants, Knicks, and Rangers kind of fan, and in the Salino household, I have one younger brother. That's how we were raised, like most households. Your dad kind of teaches you the rights and wrongs and who to root for and who not to root for, so on and so forth. So. My brother and I really took it to a different level, to a completely different extreme. And that upbringing, it kind of backfired on Dad a little bit because we used to make this trip from the Long Island area to the Boston area every single year. I had an aunt and uncle who lived in the Boston area, and that's where we went for Thanksgiving. Well, come Thanksgiving Day, Dad wants to do nothing but, lock in and start watching football, starting, of course, with the Lions game. Well, his two sons at a young age here, we want nothing to do with it. We don't care. Dad, the Giants aren't playing until Sunday. Why are we watching these games? When you're little, you'd rather be, outside, throwing the football around. Or my cousins and my aunt and my uncle used to, rake up these big pile of leaves. We want to, go jump through their leaves, kind of in the backyard. So my dad's like, no. My boys are watching the game, kind of with me. So, make a long story short. In an effort to get us engaged with things other than the Giants, the Knicks, the Rangers, and the Yankees, he created this game. It started out on Thanksgiving Day. He'd pull you off into a corner of a room. He'd whip out a pen and a piece of paper, and he started jotting down all these questions, like Barry Sanders over on the 100 yards rushing, Herman Moore over under 7.5 receptions. I remember the first time that we played, Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback of the Bears. Who looks like Michigan's getting blown out again today. Yeah, different story for a different day. But Jim Harbaugh over up to 250 yards pass. So you went through this list of questions. All the family members threw in a buck. My aunt started referring to this as the football bingo game, and now we're locked into this, Lions game at 12 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day, like it's the Super Bowl. Because as a 12-year-old, you have a chance to win, 13 or 14 bucks. So it's just a tradition that I've kind of been playing within my family in a variety of different forms. It became really popular, especially during family gatherings like Thanksgiving Day football or Christmas Day, kind of basketball, World Series games when the Yankees, when we were younger, they were never in any of these games here. So this was all different ways in which he kind of got his sons kind of interested in other things besides the local team. So yeah, it's just a game. I can't stress that enough here, and it's something I've kind of been doing in one way, shape, or form or another within my family for over 25 years.
No, that's excellent. I love that. I'm hopeful that my daughters can get into it as well. The connection I had too is for the Super Bowl. We get the family together, just me, my wife, my two daughters. I created the same type of thing. 10 questions: yes, no, heads, tails. Gronk over under. It was great. They loved it. They got into it. They're like, "Daddy, did I win?" I was like, "No, I won." And that's what brought me here today. I beat my kids in gambling. I got a big head, and I'm connecting. So, well, I think it's great. I think you should check out Statement Games. We're in another contest because you and I are in a contest for $20. I jumped into another contest. I tweeted it out. You go back and look on my Twitter at NimbleWNumbers. There's a link. Couple tweets back, might be some jokes in between there. I don't know what's going on, but you'll find the Statement Games tweet. Join that. Is there anybody left to get in there? Is it open still? What's the status of that?
I think we have 2 slots, left in kind of our private game. We're kind of see what happens. I know that there's a couple of people that are interested, but of course, the game's available to play kind of in the lobby. You don't necessarily need to join kind of our contest to go ahead and play in it. You can create your own private tournament, and where you're just inviting people that you want to play in there, just like what we're doing here. We happen to be playing for $10 a head. Winner kind of take all. It's a contest of 8 people, so basically someone's going to have an opportunity to win $70, but that's just kind of us.
Yeah.
I'll actually even sweeten the pot a little bit here. I don't care how you actually play, whether it's a private contest or a contest that you're kind of joining the lobby. You got to be listening to the show. Obviously, you got to be a fan of you guys and following you. This is not something that I will announce on my social media channels or anything like that here. This is just for the people who are checking this out and listening to the show right now. Although Statement Games is free to play, if you check out the site, log into the lobby, and play this Seattle Seahawks, Los Angeles Rams game, which we're about to talk about a little bit. If you happen to go 10 for 10 with your picks, I'll personally come to the table and cut you a check for $200.
Ooh, I like that. That's just on top of getting the free stuff you're going to get if you win that tournament anyway.
Exactly. This is on top of any coins that you win that can be exchanged for cash gift cards or rewards.
I'm going to make
personally coming to the table with $200. Hey, look, what? Odds are in my favor. You got to go 10 for 10 with your picks, but this has backfired me before in the past. A couple of weeks ago, I was on another podcast. I was showing off, made the same kind of offer. As it turns out, not only did one person listening to that show go 10 for 10 with their picks, another two went 10 for 10 with the picks. So I personally had to come out of pocket $600 to appease my my listeners or the new friends that I made by talking about the Statement Games product on another podcast. Well, so it does happen. Here's your free scratch off.
I'm in that tournament. I'm going 10 for 10. I'm trying to win both. I'm trying to double up. I'm in both. I'm trying to. If I win both, go 10 for 10. This is what football is about. Every play should matter. There should be an edge. There should be a sweat. There should be if you're watching football and you go, you're not watching football. Every play on the red zone, my daughter knows I'm either going, oh my God, or no, tackle that son of a gun. Oh my God, not him. So it's always lit in my house as well. So let's jump into our game. As you see up here, we have the DFS money shot. And for those who are new, here's how it works. We both posted a lineup to DraftKings for our $20 head-to-head. We're going to reveal our lineups one by one and kind of go back and forth and talk about our picks, why we picked them, what we're looking at. Are we playing up for value? Are we looking for a home run? Kind of where's our thinking at? So we'll jump off and we'll start at quarterback. I'm going to pull our little friend down here if I can get my hands on him. Here we go. So first, I have Jared Goff. You went with, price down, Daniel Jones. Talk about Daniel Jones this week at 5,200.
Yeah, so I mean, look, for me in picking Daniel Jones, I mean, I guess you can kind of say I'm a little bit of a glutton for kind of punishment, here. I'm looking at it from perspective of the Giants haven't beaten the Eagles in 8 straight games. I think they're literally 2 for their last 15 against Philadelphia. And if I have to watch this team lose another game to the Eagles, I'm physically going to freaking puke, and something will break in this little household tomorrow. So I'm looking at it from a perspective. I'm looking value as you take a look at some of my other picks, and we'll get into it here. I kind of went very heavy on the wide receiver position, which we'll go ahead and talk about here. I am looking for a little bit of value in Daniel Jones, and where he's almost like the the girl with the curl. Looks the part, makes all the throws, could do everything that you want a professional quarterback to do, and has the opportunity to put up big numbers here. And hopefully, if he doesn't turn the ball over, it's an opportunity for a big day. It is November. We're looking at a pretty nice day in in the New York area, so I don't expect weather to be a bigger theme. I just think it's time. He, as a quarterback, needs to step up and play big and deliver a win for this team in a big way, in a lot of different ways here. I think he's actually playing for a job. If they don't perform up to expectations or don't perform in a way that's a dramatic improvement from the first half of the season, you could be looking or staring at another high draft pick here, and there's no guarantee that they won't utilize that draft capital on another quarterback. So I'm looking for a little bit of a value and a little bit of a home run with Daniel Jones. That's what I'm thinking with that pick.
Now, I see that angle. Daniel Jones last week did not turn the ball over, surprisingly. It was a good game, for him.
I'm knocking on wood right now.
Right. Up against a Washington football team defense that has created turnovers, that has got to the quarterback, I thought they were going to roughshod over him. So, I think we did know that the first part of the year for Daniel Jones was going to suck. I mean, he went up against the top, like 5 of the top 10 defenses right away. It was terrible. So that was going to happen. I think he does bounce back. I think he does also create a lot of value for you for later on, which I'm not very pleased with. I mean, no offense. I went with Jared Goff just because Seattle's defense, I think I could join their defense and I could get some reps in there and tackle somebody in the secondary. And I'm a big fat guy. So they're not tackling anybody. They're not giving up. They're giving up the most fantasy points per position on each of the different wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, slot receiver. They're giving up all the most. It's the best. So I'm hoping that Jared Goff can throw to 1 or 2 of his wide receivers who are alive this week and can get some points for me. He's also 6,500. So I'm not trying to break the bank at my quarterback either. But you've got $1,300 on me, and I'm a little worried about that. So, to be honest. All right, let's jump down to our RBs. Let's take a look. We've got Duke Johnson, not to be confused with David Johnson, and Philip Lindsay, both at the $5,000 mark. Talk about Philip Lindsay. What do you see in him this week?
I like the grittiness, kind of like behind the player.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of like expecting a huge game kind of like from him, but I'm hopeful to kind of like sneak in maybe like a 1 or a 2 yard run into the end zone with this pick. I'm just looking for a score.
Yeah. Well, I know that Philip Lindsay has played better than Melvin Gordon this year. He really has. And so if he hadn't had a couple nagging injuries here and there, I would definitely see him taking over. If you remember in the preseason that we didn't see, but was kind of talked about, 50-50 timeshare. They're splitting carries. So I think Melvin Gordon, he's had some games where he's done well, but he's not been his by the way, his yards per carry average is down in the 3s. Ugh, it's just so gross. I don't like Melvin Gordon. So I like that Philip Lindsay pivot. That's a sneaky play. I went with Duke Johnson down at 5,002 because David Johnson's out, and they put him on IR today for 3 games. So if you have him in other fantasy games, other leagues, not this, weekly DFS, but in fantasy football itself, he's going to be around for a little bit. So keep Duke Johnson. It's just too juicy. And I know he doesn't average a lot. He hasn't been on the field a lot. But I think both of our running backs, we're looking for upside at a cheap price, which I think is warranted. Let's jump down to the second running back and see what we're working with here. I've got Mike Davis at 4,000. You've got Boston Scott at 6,000. I'll talk about Davis real quick. With Christian McCaffrey out, I had to play that. I know Tampa Bay is really good against running backs. They have been strong against running backs, but that $4,000 price tag, I'm doing what you're doing with wide receivers. I have to. I have to get some wide receivers. So I went cheap. Talk about Boston Scott for you in this game. You're running it back. So you have the Daniel Jones. On the other side, you got Boston Scott. Explain your thinking.
Just kind of historically speaking, I mean, obviously he's a smaller back. And I like kind of that screen game that Philadelphia kind of has. I believe in the last couple of games here, Scott has kind of burnt the Giants with just kind of a little screen pass that's either gone for 60 yards or an extended play of over 20 yards and kind of a score. So I don't trust the Giants defense kind of fully to let's say get off the field on 3rd down. Big kind of improvement this year here, but the way that kind of Wentz is playing, the way that they actually use that screen game in their running back game here, I like little sneak plays like that, and I taking a flyer on Scott.
No, I like it. So we're going to jump down to our wide receivers. My guy, Bo McBigtime, he's one of my writers. By the way, Bo is in our contest. He's already got his lineup in the private $8. He's one of my guys we talked about before. He's really excited. He was talking some mad shit in there just now saying he was going to win. I want for context, Bo's my guy. He's not even saying we're going to win or Scott, you're going to win. He's saying, F you, I'm going to win, which I like. That's kind of how I
it's one of the things that I'm working on with the development team. It's something that will kind of come, but when you're in kind of a tournament, there will be features that give you the ability to chat and talk a little trash with the other players that you're up against. It's coming, but this is exactly the reason why we want to add that to the product roadmap, so to speak, here, because it's fun doing that type of stuff.
It is. I got to tell you, one of my favorite stories of fantasy football league history type, contest going back and forth with one of my friends. His mom was getting remarried, and I started giving him some shit in the chat, and it turned into a full world war on the emails, and then next thing you know,
you gotta be careful with this stuff. People go nuts, but it is fun as long as you're using it in the right way, which is right. Fun. There's nothing wrong with it, but yeah.
Well, I mean, definitely having brothers. I've got two brothers. When you got brothers, there's just a kind of back and forth that you get that can only happen. When Dad says, "Hey, I said shut up or stop," and just no, that back and forth with the brothers. So it's cool. All right, so I'm digressing. Let's jump down to our wide receivers, which Bo said. I segued this because Bo, a couple comments back, said these wide receivers are going to be flames because we really did save a lot of money in our first 3 picks. So it's what we've done. So I'm gonna reveal all 3 wide receivers because I think that'll give a big pantheon view, and then we can talk about kind of what we thought in our build of the wide receivers. So let me pull down real quick. I'm working the dual screens, and so as a producer, you're
doing great.
I'm trying my best.
This is it.
Yeah. Okay. Woo! Wow, these wide receivers are flames. Goodness gracious. On Marc's end, he has Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, and Jarvis Landry. I think you had like 12 targets last week. On my side, I have Devontae Adams as well. Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
And
he's
Robert.
The best. I just couldn't. I didn't have the heart to fill it in a lineup without putting Adams in here. I just love the year that he's kind of having in the refound chemistry that he's got with Rodgers.
Yeah. No. Bo responded. He does like the wide receivers. Bo said, "Wowzers!" Yeah. I mean, we've spent a lot of capital in this wide receiver section. I paid up a little bit more than you on the third wide receiver with Robert Woods. So you've got a little bit more money to play with. I like Jarvis Landry a lot. That's a sneaky little play down there at 5,900. He has been the target monster, and I know that Hooper's coming back, and he'll get some of those targets. But Jarvis Landry is going to be a short yardage guy. He's not deep over the top. This is going to be a game where wind is involved. They're going to be doing those little passes.
And he can throw the ball too.
and he can throw the ball too. Yeah, that's a great little sneaky play. I went with Michael Thomas as my second wide receiver because he's never been this cheap, like ever.
Yeah,
ever.
I was thinking about that.
Keenan Allen, I think, is actually
I want to see a little more from him before I start incorporating him into some cash-based picks.
It's a little wishful thinking for me. It might just be name rec only, but the Keenan Allen, I mean, he's getting upwards of 28% of the targets every game. He's one of the only wide receivers who every game has had 20% at least of the targets for his team targets. So I love that play. That's a great play. And then for me, Robert Woods is my play of the week in all formats because Seattle sucks. And I had to pair him. I had to pair him up with Jared Goff as my stack option.
There you go. Okay.
So I went there. I really like this. This is so far right now. We're pretty even right now. There's no one who's jumping out. I think you're in the edge a little bit with Keenan Allen. I do like that pick a lot. That's pretty good. I'm going to give you that for sure. Let's take a look at the next round of tight ends. Oh, you've got my guy. I pivoted. I had to, $100 here and there matters. Talk about your stack because you do have a stack. That's what's so cool is that the stack isn't always obvious. There's no wide receiver stack, but you actually have probably the best stack that I've seen this year with the tight end. You've got Evan Ingram. Talk about him and what he's done the last couple of weeks.
I mean, look, he definitely. I think this is a little bit of a revenge opportunity for him, kind of going back up against Philadelphia. Improvement in last week's game against Washington here. Just think watching the Giants. If you do have the patience to watch the Giants, you can kind of see he's getting incorporated more and more into into the game. Obviously, Golden Tate being suspended for that game here had a lot to do with what he could put up like last week. I know that he got hurt again, I believe, in Thursday's practice. I mean, look, I guess the Giants wide receiver core is a little kind of banged up, anyway.
Yeah.
And I just like the way that he's being worked into the offense. He's still kind of a little raw. He's going to have some plays that really just, scratch your head and literally piss you off. But the upside is there. He's got an opportunity to break plays. He's a big part of the offense. Most of the time, he's got good hands. From an upside perspective, I was actually I was split literally between him and Ebram on Pittsburgh, and I just happened to go with him.
Yeah, you know what? I love this play, especially against a defense that gives up points to the tight end, who like the 30th ranked defense against the tight end, 31st. So you're getting a lot of good value there as well. And here's the thing about Jason Garrett. His tight end was Witten. It was Witten. So Ingram can go downfield, and I think he's finally figuring that out. He's been being targeted more, past the sticks, downfield more. I know he had that kind of like big drop earlier this year where it was almost like a wide open touchdown. It was in his hands. But you know what? He's redeemed himself. He's redeemed himself the last couple of weeks. You know what I mean? And I think that he is a great little sneaky play, and I have him in a lot of my lineups this week. So I was right there with you. I think he's a better play than my tight end. I just couldn't. I needed a little bit more money. That was the problem. I had to go down Ebron. I do think that $100 you will be outscoring me this week. Ebron is okay, but he's not a focal point of the offense like you shared with the Giants right now. So, yeah, I like it. Let me jump down to the next the flex. I like it. Flex, we've got Devontae Parker and Cole Beasley. So we're going NFC East. We're going to the East. We're sticking around the North, kind of. Talk about they're in Arizona. The Buffalo Bills are. Talk about Cole Beasley this week. What do you like in seeing him?
I like the matchup. I just I don't think Houston's very good. So I like the matchup in terms of the teams who are actually playing here. Again, looking for kind of like a sneak pick, kind of like the slot receiver kind of type who's got an opportunity to break a play. Yeah. So that's what I was actually thinking about from a flex kind of perspective. Plus, I'm at this point here, I'm running out a little cash or capital here, so I gotta go somewhere, and I like the play.
Yeah, no, I Cole Beasley is on my fantasy football team, my regular team, and so yeah, I like that play. I've got Devontae Parker. He's just never been this cheap, and so I think for me, part of these things is just, and maybe I can't get away from my mindset of, wow, I can't believe these guys are so cheap that were so great last year, and so maybe I'm living in the past. Maybe I'm like Bon Jovi, and I'm living on a prayer, and I'm just like, maybe that's where I'm at right now. But I'm hopeful that maybe Tua throws him a pass or two, maybe one or two passes. I don't know. Maybe one of those is in the end zone. He can catch it for a score. I don't know that. Yeah, I'm hopeful. So, all right. Well, we have to finish it up because I know you do have another show in a couple minutes. I want to get you there on time.
I got noticed. I've been pushed back 15 minutes, so I definitely got a good 20 minutes.
Okay, good. I always hate it when you're with a guest, you're having a good time, and you're just like,
no, this is great. I definitely got time. It's the same thing here. That's when this show starts, so I don't think I'm going to be the first priority on their list. So we're good.
Well, you're the first priority on my list, and
thank you.
Peeling back the curtain, I appreciate you reaching out to me, and in my life right now, things are very, very hectic. And so when I actually get to connect with somebody and build a relationship and start to build a relationship, it's meaningful. And I'm grateful for the opportunity for you to come on the show too. So vis-a-vis and going back and forth and what we're both doing, I like it because you're into what I'm into. You're into sports gambling. Like, I love this. It's such a great concept. And peel back the curtain even further. One of my best friends, the podcast guy I work with, he works in the patent office, and so he doesn't doesn't do your patents at all, not anywhere near.
No, it took a while, but I can only imagine what he's looking at and going through on a daily basis.
Oh man, he's my co-host Mike Collins at Ralph Macho is a brilliant man. And what he tells me he does makes me want to jump into a river and drown myself every time. I get to at least see children. Or before I did this, I used to be a supervisor, and I drive around and support teachers and meet with principals and great things like that. But now I'm back in the virtual classroom just because of my daughter's situation, all those good things. But I digress. We need to get to the defenses because we both have like no money left. I think you got I've been calculating in my head, you've got like 2,200 something. There's not a lot. I've got barely anything either. Not a lot. These are just terrible defenses. You have a better chance here though. I went min cash 2,100 Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh. This is punting on defense so that I could get better players. That's what it is. You actually have a team here. You have Detroit, and Detroit has a real chance against Alex turn the ball over Smith to do a little damage. Talk about Detroit. What you see in them?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly kind of like what I'm going on. It's I'm taking Detroit. They're kind of playing at home. You have Alex Smith, who obviously good guy. Wishing well on him, but this is a backup quarterback. So you got a professional defense. Let's just kind of leave it at that here, and an apparent defensively kind of minded coach. They do like to kind of get after the quarterback like a little bit and kind of bring some pressure. I don't feel that Washington has any type of strong run game. Stafford does have the ability to get on like a little bit of a roll and put up some points for that kind of the Detroit team here. And if that's the case here, you got an opportunity where you have a defensive team that has a good chance to literally tee off and get after a quarterback. So
yeah,
kind of that's what I'm thinking from a Detroit pick perspective. Plus, you just hit the nail on the head here. I literally have no cash at this point. I got to pick somebody.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good play, and I'll tell a little quick story as we kind of get out. We'll do odds, and this is a story that goes right with it. Last year, my co-host Ralph Macho Mike just spoke about him at the Patent Office earlier. We had his 40th birthday down at Charlestown in West Virginia. It's legal to gamble there. We can't gamble here in Maryland. Well, now we can. Well, we can. They legalized it. Thank God I voted for that. But they couldn't. You couldn't gamble last year, and so we went to Charlestown. We made a day of it, and we bet against.
Sounds like fun. Charlestown is fun.
It's not fun, except we make it fun. Like,
what is it? Is that the racetrack that you kind of went to?
So what they did was they turned the racetrack also into a sports betting.
Into a sport, okay.
Yeah, and so we went. We put a bunch of bets in, got our stogies. Went to watch the big screens. Just talking shit, and it was great. It was great for about a quarter and a half. And then all of our bets pretty much just blew up in flames because we bet against the Washington football team at that time called the Redskins. And we all were from Washington pretty much. And we loathe them. We loathe them with our I'm an ex-season ticket holder. I hate their guts. I'm never going to go to any of their events ever again. They're the worst people in the history of the world. Dan Snyder, all of it. Anyway, I'm not anymore, maybe. Who knows? That's how we felt. We bet against them. We put the Lions all over everything. And I wrote an article on Nimble W Numbers called "This is a Robbery," and I talked about how we were going to rob the casino like the guys in Heat. And guess what? The Lions shit all over us. They crushed our dreams. They lost all our bets. And to put on top of it, a guy named Chuck we'd never met before came with a friend, won $3K off a crazy triple parlay halftime.
Wow. And then doesn't that always happen?
And then he walked in.
Good for Chuck and all that stuff over here, but that pisses me off. You know?
I wrote fuck Chuck in my article last year. I said, fuck Chuck. That was the thing. Like, who the fuck is this Chuck guy? It was a great day, but a terrible day. So here's what I think is going to happen in this game, because that was in Washington. I do think you're right. I could see them getting a defensive touchdown in this. So I was going to say before, I thought I had the edge a little bit, but I think this puts us. I think it's a push. Honestly, I don't know where you were thinking betting wise, but that I'm scared now about comeback player of the year. Yes, also most likely to break his leg again. Player of the year. Every time he gets tackled, I'm scared. Bo says Scott -6.5. That 6.5 is accounted for in that pick 6 I just mentioned. So we'll say
there you go.
A 0.5 differential over under. Mark, this has been great. I appreciate it, man. If you have not already checked out Statement Games, please, statementgames.com. Also at Statement Games on Twitter. Check out Mark. I'm doing stuff with him this year. There'll be more contests that we'll roll out as we kind of build. And my life is super hectic. We're trying to do as much as we can, but I love what Mark's already done. He's already done some shout outs for me on his newsletter that he puts out, all the different shows I've done. He focused on them last week. I appreciate that very much, Mark. And I'm excited because I'm not the only one who you've been able to talk to. I've heard from you from a lot of different people talking about Statement Games. So I feel like I'm just getting in on like the tip of the spear for this. And I love it. And I love gambling. And I love betting. So this is perfect. And so if you haven't done it, please check out Mark over at Statement Games. Anything else you want to say, Mark, as we jump out?
I would actually say if you are checking out that Rams Seahawks game here, I do like the under game total, under, so total points under 55.5. I do like the Seahawks also under 27.5 points. And this could kind of come back and bite me in the butt here, but I don't think Russell Wilson's putting up 315 yards in this game here. Division of games a little bit different. Both teams kind of know one another, so I'm playing my theme going for the game is a lot of the points total as an under. So I just think it's going to be a little bit more of a defensive game. Doesn't mean there's not going to be any points, but I think the 55.5 number is a big nut as a starting point, but we'll have to see what happens. So hopefully you guys are willing to check it out. It's www.statementgames.com. You can also find this at in the App Store by simply searching on Statement Games Fantasy Sports. Like I said, go 10 for 10 with your picks in this specific sporting event. I'll send you $200.
I love it. I got to tell you, you just called out like 4 of my picks, and they were all the same as yours. And so I hope I win those. I'm all over what you're thinking. I'm thinking the same thought process as well. Not that Russell Wilson isn't the MVP, but I did go under 2.5 touchdown throws this game. I don't think he gets there. I don't think he gets it. That was one of my plays. I think it was one of my maybe 6 or 5 point plays in the middle, but I don't think he gets there. So I appreciate it, Mark. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate everybody for checking us out. We're going to be back next week. Next week, I've got another guy from New York, and he's a Giants fan. His name is Snacks on Twitter. He's part of the Big Dogs Gotta Eat crew over with Nick and all those amazing guys. He is a cancer survivor. He reached out to my daughter, London, who is currently going under treatment for leukemia. He reached out to me when that kind of happened and told his story. Incredible story. Make-A-Wish is working with my daughter. They work with him. They got him season tickets to the Giants game, on-field passes, all these perks, parking, all this thing. He lost it right away because he was yelling at the Jets. He was a Giants fan. He went in there. He was heckling the Jets players, and they rescinded his Make-A-Wish. This guy's a hero. As a Giants fan, perfect follow-up to you. Mark, if you don't know him, I'll DM you him. You're gonna have
to connect us here because I'm a Giants season ticket holder. And, let's just say that there was an instance during a Jet game and where My little brother. My little brother is 6'3", about 250 pounds, and
I got a guy.
got thrown out of the game. So maybe we can kind of compare some war stories at some point in the future.
Oh man, I think that would be great. And here's the cool part about all of these relationship building experiences. We all have these teams that we love and that we live, and we go through and we experience. And last week you were like, "Hey, you want to do something with the Washington football team?" And I was like, "I hate
No.
the football team," like because they're so bad for me. And so it's cool how all these things really they connect us, they bring us together. And this has been great. Thank you for coming on. And if you don't check out statementgames.com, you're losing an opportunity to win $200 free. Like I'm gonna pretend to be other people and sign up for. I'm not. That's not right. You don't. I'm easy. Never do that. So now
and please, if you like the game, or if there's certain things that hey, look, I'm a startup, so any feedback that I can kind of get on what you guys like, what you don't like, and if you don't mind, please kind of share the game kind of with a friend here. This is a family game. This is something that is meant and designed to kind of be fun, and I'm trying to do something new, something kind of different. Hopefully, you guys have some fun with it and could not only enjoy the product, but seriously, give me any feedback. If you hate the product, I want to know about it. All these little things over here definitely help me and the team get better.
I love that attitude, and I'll tell you one thing I did love about it. Really easy to interface. Really
thank
easy.
you.
Only thing I would say is I mispushed a button at the end, and I wasn't able to share my lineup successfully with other friends and invite them in and not share, but like
I know what you're talking about.
I would say if there's another button that you put on the top that just says like
go back,
invite or something, and you can pull up the different tournaments that you're in to invite people, that'd be the only thing, because I wanted to bring more people in. I fudged it up myself. So that was it.
Okay.
That's because I fudged. You know what I mean? Like that was me being like, "Oh, I didn't invite the right way." And I went with one friend.
You know what? I might hit you up. I'm hopefully releasing something kind of on Monday, but you know how technology and development kind of goes here. I don't want to tip my hand and it not be working properly, so I can't release it. But I think I'm close. But let's just hold that thought, and maybe I'll touch base with towards the end of next week, and we could rediscuss that same point that you brought up.
No, I love that. Thank you, Mark. And hopefully maybe next week we can put a tournament out there that I can create, and then we can be bringing people in next week and putting some tournaments out there and picking winners. All right, let's pick some winners. So thank you, Mark, for coming on.
All right, guys. Have a great one. Appreciate the chance. Talk to you soon. Everybody have fun and pick some winners tomorrow.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you guys for coming and sticking around with us. Thank you, Mark, for being on with us. See you guys next week on the DFS Money Shot.